sit on yours?
Well, I can, sure.
Again, now that people are sitting.
I think I might shut one of the doors. Oh.
Please.
So we are going to stop now, because I'm not sure to what extent I'm announcing, but Jen Ghastin has written this wonderful book, Sun Breeders, and she and Trish are going to do a little, I think this is a live, am I right?
Yes.
It's going to be a little live Facebook, YouTube kind of thing, so we can all be kind of quiet and listen and learn more about the book.
We are not even on here. Now we're on. Let's see. Okay, now it looks like we're on. We're live. Let me move this over so that we can make it work. Okay, that's good. So, hi everyone. My name is Trish Triumph Sullivan, and I'm the proprietor of Downtown Book and Sound. I want to welcome you all here tonight and thank you for being here with us. It's good to see such a big crowd in downtown Salinas. Woo! Yay! And celebrating a local author. So, wow, this is awesome. Thank you guys so much for being here. So I'm here to introduce Jen Ghastin, and she is a pretty amazing first-time author here. We've read the book and are very impressed with what you've done. So let me see if I can get this so that it's kind of sitting. There we go. This can maybe work this way. Okay, so we are live streaming on Facebook and on our YouTube channel for Downtown Book and Sound and downtown, beautiful historic downtown Salinas, the heart of Salinas. And Jen is here to talk to us about her book, and I'm going to move over just a little bit so that she can be here too. And really the mic's going to be more on her than on me. But we are kind of here together talking about her book. So I'm going to ask some questions. I think this might be the better spot for it. There we go. Okay, they're close enough to do it? Yeah, we're good.
check.
So I'm gonna ask her some questions. This is all live streaming on the internet. I'm gonna ask some questions. She's gonna answer the questions. She's gonna do a brief reading from her book, and then we're gonna open it up for audience questions. And if you have any questions, she'll be happy to answer. So Jen, thank you for being here tonight. It's so good to see you. I really appreciate you bringing your book out and having your release party at our store. I wanted to ask, so tell me, we all want to know a little bit about you because I don't know you that well. And I'm sure some other people don't either. Tell me where you're from originally.
I'm from San Jose, and my mom and sister came out from San Jose to join me as well. I went to Archbishop Mitty with Sandra Liu. I have my best friend from high school here tonight as well. And we then all went to UC Santa Cruz. My sister, Sandra, my son Sage went later, but of course, I also lived in Santa Cruz for 4 years and came to Salinas about 12 years ago.
So tell me, so you went to Santa Cruz. What did you study?
I studied creative writing, fiction, and poetry. And I also went to San Jose State, where I got my MFA in creative writing, fiction, and poetry as well.
Oh, that's so cool. Well, thank you. That's really cool. So tell me, I'm sure everyone wants to know, what inspired you to write this book?
Okay. I started writing this book as my senior thesis in college over 20 years ago. And then when I went to grad school, I went in a different direction and put it in a drawer. And about 5 years ago, actually, when I was doing my yoga teacher training, when you do a yoga teacher training, it really kind of straightens you out. And when I was doing my yoga teacher training, it came to me that I really need to get off the mat and get in front of a computer and sit down and do what I want to do. So about 5 years ago, I started putting in the time, waking up at 5 in the morning, waking up at 6 in the morning, writing before school every day for a couple of years. So I worked on this an hour a day for the past 5 years. So I don't know what the question was, but I've been writing this book a little while.
So
So what it, yes.
okay, that was exciting.
Yeah.
So you started this as a thesis.
I started it. So the book is about a group of college freshmen, and they're kind of trying to figure out, why are they here? Why do they exist? What is it all about? And they're trying to find their path and their way. And I started the book way back when I was trying to find my path and my way. And I really brought the book home when my son was getting ready to come into college, and he's a sophomore at Santa Cruz now. The book isn't just about that. There's a group of friends called the Sun Greeters, and there's a tragic misadventure. The protagonist falls out of a tree on the first page and dies. But she also tells the story from her life between lives point of view. So the book has 2 timelines. One timeline leading up to the fall, and the other timeline after the fall, bringing the friend group, telling the story after the fall is the second timeline.
Well, that's
So,
pretty cool.
yeah.
But you don't just teach yoga. You teach.
I teach graphic design at North Salinas High School. There's a lot of people in the room who are either graduates or teachers or from North Salinas High School. So I've been at North Salinas High School for probably, I keep saying 12 years. I think it's 12 years. I don't know. I've been teaching for 20 years. Maybe it's 14 years now at North. And then 6 in San Jose.
That's pretty exciting.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for giving back to the community by teaching, because whether it's yoga or graphic design, that's a really important thing to be doing for our young people and everyone in the community, basically. So would you be willing to do a little reading from your book?
Yeah. Yes,
Oh, we
I
would
will.
love that. Thank you. I think everyone else would too.
Okay. So I was telling you that the narrator, she gonna die on this first page, okay? So just so you know, okay? And so she's falling from this tree. And I do want to tell you guys a story. I think it's a funny story. I don't know if my mom's gonna think it's a funny story. My mom's sitting right here in the front. When I was in 2nd grade, this is not really related, but kind of related. When I was in 2nd grade, it was a New Year's Day, and we were playing Monopoly. And where's my former students? We were playing Monopoly because video games didn't exist yet or anything like that. So we were playing Monopoly on a New Year's Day, and I was the banker. And I got caught skimming from the top. Okay? And my mom overreacted. She grounded me. I had to go to my room because I cheated during this is a true story. You can ask her in 2nd grade. I had to go to my
Mom.
room. This happened. And when I was coming back from my room, when I was coming back from being grounded, I was so excited to play Monopoly. No one has ever been this excited to play Monopoly in the history of playing Monopoly. I was so excited to play Monopoly. I was like running towards the stairs. And I usually, at that time in 2nd grade, my sister would have been in kindergarten. We had just gotten into the habit of sliding down the banister. Okay. So I run at the banister and I jump to slide down the banister. And I don't think I could do this if I tried. I jumped over the banister. I fell from the 2nd floor to the 1st floor, free fall as a 2nd grader, right? I fell. Yeah, you know what I'm talking about. And from Grandma's banister, I jumped over. So when I jumped over the banister on accident, I kind of fell in slow motion. When you fall like that, it's very Alice in Wonderland. It does. Some people are nodding like they have also fallen and they know that it all of a sudden you're like, oh, it's very slow motion. So although this book is fiction, on this first page, I'm a little bit Alice in Wonderland falling, but it's not me, it's the narrator, of course, from Tree 9. Here we go. At first, it's just an exhale. The breath leaves you. Then time slows, if you would believe it. And for a moment, you're not falling, you're flying. And you can see it all inch by inch, the way we connect one thing to everything on and on like tree rings and stars. I was facing the sky on the fall down from Tree 9. Each branch like a door sliding closed, just out of reach on the passing. I shouldn't have been able to see the sun greeters' faces, but I did. To be honest, that's the last thing I remember. I mean, really remember about being alive. The green-haired girl's eyes widening, her hands reaching, light radiating from her palms, Jack turning his head to see what I had done now, but losing sight of me in the thickness of his dreadlocks. Adam sending limbs like silly string around Patch's, but not soon enough. Patch's head tilting to the side right before we collided on the way down and down and down from the 150-foot Douglas fir. And you know what I was thinking about? You know my last thought before I died? I was thinking about that damn dragonfly. Walking alone in the forest, just beyond the Crown Merrill Meadow, a week or so before finals, I saw her, the dragonfly, in the middle of the path, struggling. I paused to examine the little life. Wings fluttered without flight, the body stiff and dry. Had she been in the sun too long? Steadying my hands under the creature, I carried her off the path and into the shade of a tree circle. Water's nature's salve, I thought to myself, unscrewing the cap of my Nalgene bottle. I spilled the water on a leaf and set the dragonfly down on top, trying to save the damn thing, because I really thought I could. It must have been how the sun greeters felt when it was me on top of the leaves under tree 9. But they didn't know yet, and I didn't know then, that the dragonfly and me, we weren't going anywhere. Not really. That things don't really die. Minutes passed. I studied the dragonfly, noticing the wings. Translucent yet webbed, the greens of her body, the way the torso divided neatly into segments. It was there on the wings. The pattern, the math of the universe, one cell becoming two, two becoming four, on and on, the way one thing becomes everything. It was right there on the goddamn wings. If you look closely, you could see it. Compelled to do something, I picked up the dragonfly and inhaled deeply. When I exhaled, I tried as though part of some magic spell to share some of my energy. I know what you're thinking, crazy, right? But it made so much damn sense right there in the tree circle. Like I closed my eyes and the universe wouldn't have to tell me what to do. I am the universe too, you know. I felt the slight hum of her life. I felt what alive felt like in my own 2 hands. But in one whoosh, in one exhale, it was gone. And I didn't know until that moment that you could sense this kind of thing when life was there and when it wasn't. And I know it was just a dead bug or whatever, but I cried. And I had thought my energy would be enough. I could actually save her. I cried because I was wrong, or I thought I was wrong. That's the funny thing about time. You don't get to see the big picture, the whole story. You never do, not until the end. So we're stuck with these small moments, shaking fists towards the sky, crying, why? And then a week, a month, a year later, if you're lucky, you're like, oh shit. And you see how it's all connected, how everything's connected to everything else. Pull a string and we all unravel. Those were my last thoughts alive. Thank you.
Well, if that doesn't want to make you read the book, I don't know what will. So thank you, Jen. That was awesome. I'd like to open it up for questions from the audience now. So if you have any questions, now's the time. After questions, we are going to sign off online and we're going to do the raffle. So please, if you have anything to ask, now's the time.
Oh, my mom.
Yeah.
What's the first question?
Yes, Mom.
Well, on page 2.
Oh, we're specific here.
She has to refer
On
back to
page
that.
222.
Yeah. Read that section if you
No,
can.
I'm not going to read that end. I'm not going to.
Well, explain that. Oh. Can you explain it?
The end?
Well, you can explain what paragraph about the stars. I think that's remarkable.
She asking me about this.
In like,
I think she's asking me about this. We die like stars die, not all at once, but fading gradually from the moment we are born. And when the light finally goes out, it's because we've given everything away completely. It's a magical thing to give everything away. I think I'm going to stop there because I think they want to get to page 222. She wants me to keep going.
to the
And the light, it's like everything we do, think, act, feel, radiating out in every direction, like drops of water returning to the source. It's our soul. Like it wasn't ours after all. It just was soul or God or love or whatever. And it's like the air, ours, then not ours, and part of a bigger system we can only see the half of. And I'm stopping there. There's 2 more paragraphs.
Perfect. I love that.
So what did you want explained about that?
Yeah. What did you want to explain about that?
Well, her view about that. Her view about what-
She's asking me, the book is about death. And the book is about death in a way. She's asking me my philosophy on death. And my philosophy on death is that we're always dying. Like, and that's what I'm saying, like how a star dies. So a star is giving its light. Every time it's giving its light, it has less light. So we're always in this act of giving our light or our soul or our energy or our creativity. We're always in the act of giving that. So we don't really die. We've just taken ourselves from being here to being everywhere else. I think that's what she's asking me about.
Yes. Perfect.
I love that. So more questions, you guys. This is a good time to ask because people online that are watching are going to want to know. So what questions do you have?
So I really liked, because I read a pre-advanced copy, the way that the characters were so open-hearted and sort of naive in a way that was so youthful. And I know you started it a long time ago, but how were you able to maintain that throughout the entire novel in such an honest way?
So repeat the question, kind of like so like how are you able to?
Yes. So the question was that the book is written from the point of view of there's a handful of college kids, they're college freshmen, and how was I able to like tap into that point of view? And I would say, well, we kind of work. The question came from Stevie, and she's a high school teacher like me, and we work with that age group all the time. I mean, that question of what's next? Who am I and where am I going? Who am I and where am I going is the main question that we're working with our students to solve every single day. So I feel that maybe for me, that's sorted. You know, I kind of figured my way out, but I feel like my purpose is actually helping people answer that question. So I'm working with people and their answer to that question all the time. So I feel like I could empathetically kind of tap into that. Hi, Holly.
Nice, thank you. What more questions do you have? I know you guys have more questions.
Like, how do you get past getting stuck when you're stuck? I know you spent time on this, and you have a system. I know
Yeah.
I like to write, but sometimes I get stuck.
I think that it's similar to exercise, and you just have to pick your time and like try your hardest to make your routine. Because if I just wrote when I felt like it wouldn't be as often. And I also would sometimes I would burn a candle, like I'm only going to write this long. Or sometimes I would set a 20-minute timer, like I only have to sit down and do it for 20 minutes. But once I got 20 minutes, I'd keep going. And then when I wrote this, I did wake up early and sit down and just maybe something happened or maybe nothing happened, but I just kept waking up early. So I think it's like just consistent, energetic output over time till the end. And yeah, there was many times my family could tell you I didn't think that I could see the end in sight. And they were like, just keep going, just keep going. And here we are.
Wow.
My sister.
What's your next project?
My next project is a kid's book called Zoc the Rock. His parents are classic rock, but he's a punk rock. So they clash. So he has to roll away because he can't run away. So he has to roll away to find a band to call his own. And it's I'm illustrating it because I'm a graphic design teacher. It's written, but it still takes a long time. So give me 2 years. Jamie and then Cat. Jamie and then Cat. I am. Yeah. Oh, that wouldn't work for you at all. You should do it, but at that, pick a different time. Pick a different time. Yeah. She was like 5 a.m. Jamie, I don't call him till after 12. Even if it's emergency, after 12. Jamie's one of my yoga teachers, our yoga teachers. Kat.
You just mentioned a moment ago how you worked and worked and worked and you couldn't see the end in sight. And how did you know when you reached the end? How did you know when you completed this project and you felt comfortable with it and it spoke all that you wanted to share? How did you?
I don't know. I think the question was, I worked at this consistently. How did I know when I reached the end? I almost want to like say ask Sage or something. How did I know when I reached the end? I don't know. And here's the thing. I probably would have even taken more time to keep polishing and keep trying to make it perfect and keep trying to make it perfect. But I also did have a little bit of we'll say this. I did have a little bit of a deadline of wanting everyone in my life to see it. So I needed to hurry up a little bit. And I would say maybe I do not have an answer for your question. I don't think anything's ever done or perfect. And I probably could keep working on it, but I really need to move on. I really need to move on to something else. So I don't really have an answer. I'll have to think about that.
It's the artist's dilemma of when do you declare it done? And whether you're a visual artist or a literary artist or a performing artist, I think that's always the question for us. When is it done?
And I was saying I would refer to Sage because when he was a freshman in high school and we were locked down in pandemic together, I read it out loud to him. I actually paid him to listen to me read it out loud because I wanted to see if it was boring or not. And I just knew that if I read it, I would be able to gauge if he was like, oh, or what. So part of it was when it was done, when Sage said, it's fine. It's good. It's good. It's good. So that's why I said we should ask Sage.
I love that.
And if you don't know, my son Sage, who you may or may not have met, I'm looking at him right now, but he's hiding between these two stacks. So, yeah. Any other questions? Oh,
More than one.
Sandra and then Andrea.
Okay, so having gone through the process now of drafting, rewriting, going through the publishing process as well too, like what are the learnings or things that you would change, like moving forward for your next books?
So I recently found the Central Coast Writers Group, and I think having a writers group, and it could be a group of your friends, or it could be a class, or it could be a structured group, but it really does help having stuff workshopped because then you don't have to, make your son listen to all, you can have, it's good to have people who want to talk about it with you. So I think like building a community, for a support. I was supposed to repeat the question. The question is, what did I learn? I did also learn there's lots of support services online, like Readsy is a great one, and they have editors and groups. Gotham is an online writing group that I found, so I did a bunch of online writing groups as well. Readsy, you can get like developmental editors. So there's lots of support beyond your other friends who write, or from your college. If you're no longer in college, there's supports in the community and supports online. And I think those are really helpful to get you going. Andrea, you had a question.
Yeah, I wanted to know about I haven't read the book yet, so I wanted to know about the characters. Like, is any of your personality in those characters? Do they come from people in your life?
Yes.
Students, just kind of.
My sister is shaking her head a lot. And I know when Stevie asked me a similar question, I was like, don't you think all the thoughts of all your characters? Like, aren't you the one who thinks all the thoughts of all your characters? So I would say that my characters are fictional. Their story, their plot is fictional. But I definitely, when I write, I will like pick someone and I will puppet their persona, or like the way they would act or the way they would react. So there's a lot of people in my life that I did borrow some of their essence in the book. And probably the most notable is the green-haired girl. I did have a friend who we were like very social activist, and then she very dramatically left for the army in the middle of the Iraq war for oil, and we were all like, oh my gosh, what are we gonna do? So I did have a friend that had that storyline, and you'll see that that's like a main storyline in the book. So it is very inspired by a lot of characters that I knew in Santa Cruz. And if you have been to Santa Cruz, you know there's a lot of characters. So, yeah. Yes, thank you.
What other questions do you guys have?
I have a question, but I came late, so it may have been asked before. Where do you find you get most of your inspiration for threads in your book? Is it out walking in nature? Is it at home? Comfort zone?
Yeah.
So, where did the inspiration come
Where
from?
do you find you get most of your inspiration?
Where do I get inspiration? And the question was if I just wake up really, really early and just sit with myself and just like watch the thoughts that think themselves. You know, I don't feel like I don't really like walk around and, oh, that's a good this or that. It's more like if I find, I'm a very busy person. So to like actually sit down and be quiet with myself, a lot happens if I do that, as it turns out.
That's a great answer.
Yeah. Thank you.
Do we have more questions?
Yeah. Derek.
What percentage of your book do you think was written 20 years ago versus?
A very small percentage. So what I
was written that long
okay,
ago.
so the question was which percentage of the book was from 20 years ago and what's from now? And what happened was when I took the story out, it looked like one of those murder mysteries where you know how they like tack up things and they put the strings, except for it was flat on my floor and I was lining up different pieces. And then when I got the idea of the character falling to her death, that's when everything kind of became a giant jigsaw. So I had some pieces, some strands, but adult me writes a lot better than 20-year-old me. So that is a big thing that happened. Yeah.
Life experience.
So not very much, just for 20 years.
So like the essence, but the writing part is adult me.
That's awesome.
Yeah. Any other questions? Yes, Alicia.
What was the inspiration for the dual timelines? You talked about there's two different timelines.
Oh, that's a good idea. Ooh. Well, really, I was hanging out with Nina from Apotheca. That's the witchy store right here. And she got me all on this book that I gave my mom that I can't remember the name of, which is about your life between lives. And she had me really thinking about this idea of the life between lives. And so it was kind of something, so when that kind of conversation happened and I was able to realize that's what's happening in the story. Because she's not very ghostly. She's not spooky ghostly. She's like life between lives ghostly. So I didn't really have what I was doing until I had that conversation with Nina, and then that kind of helped clarify.
That's so cool.
Yes.
What was the hardest step like when you were writing in the process of writing the book?
Okay, so I'm gonna tell a sub story from this, and that was my desk. So okay, oh my god, you guys, I had a therapist, and I was telling the therapist that I'm so mad at myself because I'm a writer who's not writing. I'm like really mad at myself. And she said, "What do you need to write?" And I told her, "Well, I need a desk." She goes, "What do you need to get a desk?" And I said, "Well, I would need Mark to build me a desk." And then I came home and I told Mark, my therapist said, "We need you to build me a desk." So Mark and I went to Jackal and picked out the most beautiful piece of wood, live edge. And if you've ever been to my house, if you ever come to my house, my husband built me the most gorgeous desk in the whole entire world. And after he put God knows how many hours into the desk, if I didn't sit down and write this book, that was going to be like, what are you doing with how could you not even? So the hardest part for me was like just sitting down and doing it. And apparently I needed to marry Mark and buy a desk and have him build a desk in order for me to just sit down.
now we want a picture of the desk posted on.
Yeah, we will post the desk. It's beautiful. I have to clean it, but we'll post it.
So do we have more questions before we close out tonight on this portion?
Vivi, no. Okay. Thank you, everyone. There is going to be a raffle. If you didn't sign up yet, it's over here. It's very good prizes. So come sign up for the raffle. And thank you for your questions.
Thank you, Jen, and thank you guys all for being here tonight at Downtown Book and Sound for the premiere of the Sun Greeters. Right, as Jen said, raffle's coming up, so fill in your forms. We only need name and email, but I want to say one thing to the people that are watching online. You have a special opportunity. Anyone who joins us virtually, whether it's tonight or later on, has the option of getting a free limited edition bookplate signed by the author, mailed anywhere in the U.S. So no matter where you buy your copy of your book, if you're not local, you can get a signed bookplate as well, courtesy of Downtown Book and Sound. Thank you all for being here tonight, who is here live, and everyone here virtually. We look forward to seeing you in person at some point, I hope. Good night, everyone. And thank you, Jen. Put your face back here.
Thank you. And thank you, Trish and Dan, for all the support so that this event is possible. So thank you, Trish and Dan.
Thank you, Dan. Thank you guys all for being here. We're going to sign off online really quick.
And do the raffle over here.
Yes.
This is the raffle.